Hello YouTube, Joey here from Team Brain Infinity with another deck profile. I know I've been out in a long time, I'm still really busy, so I don't really plan on posting that much, but I just figured I'd bring you content since I have the chance. So let's jump straight into it. A Hero World deck profile, that's mine, not Jake's. So this is my superhero deck. It's been working pretty well in testing, it's still got a lot of work to go. But it's been pretty consistent, whatnot, so I'm enjoying it. And let's jump straight to the profile. We'll do the main deck and then the sideboard. So for the flag is obviously Hero World, and our buddy is Rescue Dragon Justice Drum. I'll get into him later in the deck. So starting off with size zeros, we play 4 copies of Decker Drum SD. He is 2,000 power, 1 critical, 1,000 defense, and he has the counteract ability of put this card from the field into the drop zone, and if you do destroy size one or less monster on your opponent's field. So he's basically a walking Dragonic Thunder size 0 that you can use on either player's turn. So you could go quad attack formation, you could put it defensively, you could just throw on the left or right if you don't have anything. And then when they go do something, kill their 1 or 0. It's a really nice card and it offers a lot of versatility to the deck, so I play 4 of it. Play 2 copies of Rescue Dragon Project Gunner. I almost said Northern Bird. But Project Gunner is basically a 4 bulk for the deck with the stats of 3,000 power, 2 critical, 1,000 defense. And he has the ability, if you're transformed, you could discard this card from your hand. If you do, gain 2 gauge. This deck uses an enormous amount of gauge, so I play a lot of Gauge Excel, and this is one of the forms I do. Next form of Gauge Excel I play is Cyber Police Commander Gale. And Gale is 3,000 power, 1 critical, 2,000 defense. He has 2 abilities. The first one is a auto ability, if I remember the term right. Basically, all superheroes always have plus 1,000 power that aren't him. So Drum would be 6,000 power, and pretty much any transform that has superhero attribute would gain the 1,000 power. It's really nice for buffing up your things and hitting down walls. So that's why we run it. Then we play a copy of, and then the second ability is when a superhero would destroy a monster, you put the top card of your deck into the gauge, so more Gauge Excel. Moving on, we play 3 copies of Cyber Police Heroic Blader, 3,000 power, 2 critical, 2,000 defense. Just standard 3/2/2 move for the Hero World. You want the move versatility because you play very open center based, so having move is really nice in the deck. And then we play 3 copies of White Valor Lord Takuto. Size 1, 2,000 or 3,000, same stats as Heroic Blader. And he is a walking form of Cavalry Academy for all transform or ride monsters. So basically just free stats for your transform rides. That's it for the size 1 and 0 lineup. Moving on to size 2s, we play 2 copies of Red Warrior Roadblader. We play Roadblader for removal because he's 5,000 power, 2 critical, 5,000 defense, 2 gauge, 2 call, or transform on. And basically when he enters the field or is transformed on, you can destroy a monster on your opponent's side of the field. So he's a free nuke. And you want removal, so we play Roadblader. Play 4 copies of Fiery Inspector Prominence Burst. Prominence Burst is one of the more well-known cards of Hero World, so I shouldn't have to explain this too in depth. 5,000 power, 2 critical, 4,000 defense. Has transformed for a gauge, free call cost, and it has the ability of whenever a superhero monster on your field destroy a monster by battle, this card gains an extra critical for this turn, and its ability can be used as many times as you want per turn. So basically what you do is you have this card on the field, you have Promise Burst equipped, and you just start slowing down the entire field drum, gain a lot of critical, and smack them in the face for a ridiculous amount of damage. Speaking of the buddy, play 4 copies of Rescue Dragon Justice Drum. Justice Drum is the buddy of the deck. He has 5,000 power, 2 critical, 5,000 defense. He has a 1 gauge call cost, and he has the ability of whenever this card would destroy a monster on your opponent's field by battle, if you are transformed, restand this card. And that basically lets it have as many attacks as it can destroy cards per turn, and every time you get destroyed, you get an extra critical on Prominence Burst, regardless if it's Solgar or not. So you try and combo those two together often enough, because Prominence Burst can get ridiculous critical, and you get an enormous amount of attacks in per turn with Drum. So that's it for size 2s, and now for size 3s, play 1 copy of Burn Nova, because prevent yourself from death, 9,000 power, 2 critical, 8,000 defense, size 3. The call cost of when your life goes 0, pay 3 gauge, discard all cards on your hand, remove all cards from your field. You can drop this card down, it can't be destroyed. during the turns played, and you can't be damaged during turns played, and it's a really good card. Basically prevents you from losing. It also has triple attacks, so you try and end the game next turn. Then we play 2 copies of Rescue Dragon's Force Arms, 3 gauge call cost, 7,000 or 8,000 power, 2 critical, 7,000 defense. It's really annoying that it has 7,000 defense, making it really bulky because it also has the ability is 3 abilities. The first one is double attack, second one is Soul Guard, and the third one is you can put a superhero from your drop zone to this card's soul. This ability may only be used once per turn. So just constantly refilling your Soul Guard is ridiculous, especially on a monster of these stats, and it's really annoying to deal with. Then we play 2 copies of Rescue Dragon Immortal Spirit. Immortal Spirit's a really important card because it's a beater, it lets you draw, and it offers a lot of monster removal in the fact that it attacks everything instead of trying to go for damage. So Immortal Spirit has a 2 gauge call cost, 8,000 power, 1 critical, 6,000 defense, double attack, and whenever this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, draw a card. So it gives you draw power, it lets you kill stuff, and it is a good beater. And then we play 3 copies of our final monster and transform. Captain Answer Final Mode, might bump him up to 4 because it's such a ridiculous card. 8,000 power, 2 critical, 5,000 defense, 3 gauge call cost, 2 gauge transform cost, and basically this thing has an ability of when you have 2 or more different superheroes in your drop zone, you may pay 1 gauge. If you do, declare the top card of your deck as a monster or spell. Send it to the drop zone, and if you are correct, you can destroy 1 monster on your opponent's field, and this card gains double attack for the turn. And you can only use that ability once per turn. So it allows you to get removal, double attack, and it's great beater and wall. So very, very good card. That's it for the monsters. For spells, we play 2 copies of It's About Time I Got Serious. Basically, Abyss Symphony, clone, draw power. 2 copies of Man Who Answers Justice. This is to combo with the Captain Answer, and you get gauge. Basically, what it allows you to do is put top card of the deck into the gauge. Then you look at the top card of your deck, and you could leave it on top or send it to the drop zone. So you know what you're declaring with Answer and whatnot. Then we play 2 copies of Leave This to Me and Go On. This is basically Cavalry Academy clone. Pay 1 gauge to set all set for free. Not even 1 gauge. All cards with Transform Ride gain plus 1,000 power and plus 1,000 defense. So it's a really nice card because it's free buff. And then back to Gauge Excel, we play 2 copies of Hyper Energy, which is put top 4 cards of your deck into the gauge. 2 copies of our Dirge Training. This to crank up our transforms by a lot because you want that advantage. But basically what it does is you can pay a life and you select a monster with Transform or Ride. And you select that. You can only play this card for your Transform, right? You pay a life, and you select an item, which is your Transform or Ridden monster, and you give it plus 5,000 power, 1 critical, and penetrate. So it works really well on Prominence Burst 2 if you get like a monster with 6 Soul Guards there and you just keep whacking it. Very, very useful. Then you can use I've Come Back to Take You Down, or this is the next card not used. Pay 1 gauge and pay 1 extra gauge if you are not transformed, but it is basically an armor used for superheroes. And then we play 4 copies of Justice Will Prevail. Drago Energy Clone +3/+3 counterattack works on your item. It's a really good card for the deck. And you play your 4 basic nullifiers. I've seen 3 moves. Battle War Circle Clones. So that's it for the main deck. Onto the side deck. Play 1 copy of 5th Omni Dragonlord Tenbu SD. Use it for soul removal and popping size marks or less. Really nice in matchups like Dungeon or Danger where you can remove soul or pop something small. It gets really annoying. So, really nice card. Then we play the bigger Tenbu as well for master removal against decks that like to swarm. 5th Omni Dragonlord Tenbu. Size 3, 636, pay 2 gauge, when you enter the field, destroy your opponent's monsters on the field. And they're both Omni Lords, so we can play one of them in Hero World. 2 copies of Rescue Dragon Drago Shovel. This is a substitute until I get Rolled Blader, because Rolled Blader is better than this. 5,000 power, 2 critical, 5,000 defense, pay 1 gauge call cost. And when this card enters the field, if you are transformed, destroy a size 2 or less monster. And if you are transformed, deal an extra damage. So basically removal and damage, very nice. But I prefer Road Blader because of the just size 3 removal. 2 copies of This Is an After Image for prevention from item hate like item blasting clones and whatnot, because they're really annoying to deal with. And then we play 4 barbed wire for dealing with the meta, because items are a really, really annoying thing. So hate on items. Also, this wrecks the mirror match. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Buddy Fight content. And check out our other videos. Joy from Team Burning Infinity, signing out. Peace.